Welcome to Solving the Puzzle with Dr. Datis Karazian, where evidence-based functional medicine meets real-world application. Whether you're seeking functional medicine training as a licensed healthcare professional, certified functional nutritionist training, or effective strategies for chronic health, gut, brain, or autoimmune conditions, this podcast bridges the gap between complex science and practical solutions you can implement immediately.
Okay, well, Dr. Boyton, thank you for joining us for our first Karazian Institute Practitioner Spotlight Series. And to get started, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your practice, and how you got into functional medicine?
Yeah, my name is Dr. Dave Boyton. I'm a chiropractor in Cincinnati, and I specialize in functional medicine. Like most people who got into the functional medicine space, they were sick, their spouse was sick, or their family member was sick. So that I'm in that category too. My wife was just misdiagnosed with different things, and I knew that the doctors were wrong. So I started digging in, and I knew functional medicine was the way to do that. So we were able to change her diagnoses up. She had a couple different autoimmune conditions, kind of fell in some different buckets. And through the result of that, I just got hooked on functional medicine because chiropractic care is great, but we're not going to cure anybody's hypothyroid or Crohn's disease or anything like that with adjustments. So there was kind of a hole in my bag, so to speak. And now that's been filled with functional medicine. So I love it. I love figuring out what's wrong with people that don't make sense to doctors, that just make sense physiologically.
Mm-hmm. So was it autoimmunity that kind of got you on this path?
Yep, autoimmunity.
Yeah. And what kind of conditions are you primarily working with today? Is it still in the autoimmune realm?
No, I don't really have a niche. We just help sick people get better.
Okay, yeah. And what would you say is the most overlooked? So the conditions that you're dealing with, the patients that come to you, what has been most overlooked in their care in the past with other practitioners or the standard healthcare model?
A lot of the neurological components to people's conditions, which is why I just love what Dr. Datis has brought together with the Karazian Institute, because he really brings in a lot of the neurology and physiology in. And most doctors either know physiology, neurologists only know neurology and not physiology. So we can kind of bring that together. So I think a lot of the neurological components are left out. Even with the functional medicine doctors, most functional medicine doctors' exam sucks. Mine was okay before, but it's really good now, thanks to his help. And neuroinflammation and probably hypoglycemia is so overlooked by so many people. Oh, you get hangry, it's okay. No, it's not okay. When you get hangry, when you have hypoglycemia, your frontal lobe doesn't work. When your frontal lobe doesn't work, you're not going to get better. Just bottom line.
Hmm. So you're seeing that have a big impact in like pretty complex conditions?
Absolutely.
And how long, like what sort of, I know it's difficult for patients to make changes. What is that journey like for them and you as their provider, and kind of what sort of timeline are we looking at in terms of how that's impacting their condition and improving their health?
Everybody is so different. Some people have no idea what food even is, and some people have been doing this for a long time. And they just need to help somebody to help guide them and kind of figure out the last two or three things. And some people just have no concept of anything. So we try to give them attainable steps. And we have a health coach, which is very helpful as well to help. I tell people, I'm like, well, hold your hand as much or as little as you need, but you have to be the one who's going to ask for help. So even after our initial exam, I give them homework. I'm like, you need to start doing these things now before we even get any of your test results in. And sometimes these little changes, like if you have hypoglycemia, you have to figure out how long between meals you feel normal for. And you have to figure out just regulating that. A lot of people's symptoms go away. I start telling people, I need you to reduce gluten, dairy, and sugar right now. And based on your food sensitivity testing, I'm going to tell you to go gluten-free or dairy-free. Some people, I tell them they have to go gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free if they want to get better. So it's really, there is no mold that people fit into. And even you would think older people would know certain things or younger people would know certain things. No one knows anything. A lot of times, or what they thought they knew was wrong.
Right,
We
right.
find that a lot just because there's so much misinformation on the internet, and their family doctors just aren't very helpful typically.
Yeah, they don't know. They weren't trained in that, right?
They're not trained. Yeah, that's not in their wheelhouse typically.
Right, right. And the neurology component, I think that's intimidating to a lot of people. They feel like that's too advanced or too outside of their, wheelhouse. And how did you kind of get into addressing also neurological aspects? Like, to what degree? Like, how did you find it as you learned about that as a clinician?
So being a chiropractor, I went to a school called Palmer. We get a lot about half of our education is in neurology. So I already had a pretty good foundation of neurology. Now I had forgotten a lot of it, but going to the Crozen Institute, using his questionnaires are really helpful. The brain regionalization localization form is really helpful to kind of know some deficits in people's regions of the brain that correspond to their symptoms. With the clinical care, the mastership classes, going through watching him do his physical exams and pointing out neurological things that I think a lot of people miss, cues to things that your typical functional medicine program doesn't really address. Because I've sat through a lot of functional medicine seminars from other institutions with our doctors, and they just want to give you protocols, and protocols don't work for most people because it's not individualized. That's functional medicine is not protocol driven. It's individual physiology driven. And that's what a lot of these, especially the supplement companies, oh, your patient has Crohn's. Here's a protocol for Crohn's. I'm like, there's no protocol for Crohn's. There's no
Mm.
protocol for hypothyroid. There's no protocol for all these things. It's what does that patient need right now that's going to change as their body heals and gets well.
Hmm. Interesting. So you said you have a pretty good intake exam now, and you've learned some
Yes.
of that through the Crossing Institute through the clinical mastership grand rounds kind of
Yep.
feature on there. Yeah. Do you,
Yes.
do you want to talk a little bit about what your exam looks like, your intake exam?
Pretty similar to what Dr. Natis does.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of those
So
neuro components as
a,
well.
a lot of the neuro components, I knew most of them. Some of them I did not know. We did not learn in school. So my exam takes anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. I don't do some of the stuff he does. I don't have the equipment, don't have the time. But yeah, my exam's pretty extensive and pretty thorough. People always comment on to me like, I've never done any of these things before with a chiropractor or any doctor for that matter. I'm like, well, that's where you're gonna get well because we're turning all the pieces of the puzzle over. Everybody's a puzzle. My job is to shake up the box, the labs, empty the box on the table, and then the protocols and not the protocols, but the patient's programs help us to flip the pieces of the puzzle over to put the puzzle together so they feel better. That's kind of an image that I like to show people because and some people, they're missing puzzle pieces. We got to figure out that puzzle pieces that are missing to complete their puzzle.
Mm-hmm. And how has that affected your practice over the years in terms of like word of mouth or what patients like? Is it attracting more complex patients now?
Yes, and that's good and bad sometimes. We don't really do any advertising. I'm booked out for weeks, if not months,
Hmm.
typically. One doctor's like, yeah, go see Boyton. He does weird stuff. I'm like, weird stuff? Like, I measure people's physiology. That's weird. So apparently I do weird stuff by measuring people's physiology and doing functional medicine tests, not just typical, CBC, CMP, lipids, and TSH. Oh, you're healthy. I don't know what's wrong with you. Here's an antidepressant. We get a lot of that here in Cincinnati,
Right.
just to kind of pacify, probably everywhere, but just to pacify people, numb them out so they can't feel their symptoms.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people know what more to do, right? They don't have the tools which brings me to my next question. Like, in order for you to learn this, you had to keep educating yourself while you're practicing. And not all clinicians do that. And what do you think hinders other clinicians from wanting to continually evolve in their knowledge and their skills?
Well, that would be throwing people under the bus, so I can't tell you my honest opinion. I don't I don't know why. I love to get patients in when they have diagnosed conditions that I've never heard of before because it's an opportunity for me to learn how to help them get well. Because if I have one patient come in with some weird diagnosis, that means I'm going to attract more of them. It's just what it seems to. That's just been my observation over the years too. Is that, and not so much of that they're referring their friends with weird conditions. They just kind of find you because they've just heard that we help people get well. We help sick people get well. We give people hope. I tell my staff, I'm like, we are ambassadors of hope in our office because that's what we offer people. We offer people hope.
I like that because that's a big part of the therapy, right? Or the healing.
It is. And it's instilling confidence in the patients that I know what I'm doing when I'm during our exam. I'm explaining a lot of these things. Okay, see how you couldn't do this? This is what that means. This is how it ties into your symptoms. And people are just like, wow, I know you're going to help me because you've explained to me more than anybody else ever has. Just in the exam, my exams, I call it a show and tell exam.
Oh, like you show the patient through their symptoms or their
Yeah.
responses.
Yeah. It's like,
Hmm.
see, when
And
when we have you do, when we have you do stand with your feet together and you follow the right, that tells us that you have a lesion on the right side of your brain. That corresponds to XYZ symptoms. So as you get better, you can do this at home and you won't follow the right anymore. And they're like, really? And they come back, I'm not following the right anymore. When I do that, I'm like, good. That means the right side of your brain's not inflamed.
and is that then
It's like,
helping with their gut symptoms or their autoimmune symptoms or whatever?
yeah, that's helping them understand it, own a little better. Like, hey, so you have tinnitus on the right, you fall to the right. That means we know that your temporal lobe is not functioning right. How are we going to work on that? So we're going to work on that doing these functional neurology exercises on the left side of your body to stimulate the right. And we're going to have you listen to your earbud on the right. We're going to have you we're going to have you cover up your right eye, watch things from your left eye, things like that. So giving them homework that they can improve themselves. It doesn't require them to come in for follow-up appointments and things like that.
Hmm. Interesting. And I'm wondering if one of the barriers to continuing one's education is just feeling like there's no time, there's no space, but
There is no
I
time, and
how
there's no space.
so why
You got to wake up
what
early.
helps you? Okay, you just got to like make the effort. And how
Got
does
it.
that contribute to your sustainability just personally in practice? Like in terms of avoiding burnout, like you would think it would cause more burnout to learn, but what are you finding in terms of how your education is affecting your sustainability?
I think the more you learn, the more resilient you become
Hmm.
because you're not overwhelmed by things that you don't understand or know because you know and understand a lot more things.
Right. So it actually eases your journey.
It does for me because, before I'd have a patient come in that had some weird condition. I'm like, holy crap, I have no idea what's wrong with her. I didn't know what tests to run. And now I'm like, okay, I learned about that. I know exactly what to do. So I'm very confident I can help this patient get well as opposed to saying, holy cow, I have no idea what to do.
Mm-hmm. And what would be your advice to a practitioner out there who's kind of new to functional medicine in terms of avoiding overwhelm, how to integrate this into their practice? Like, as someone who's been down that road, what do you advise others?
Jump in.
Just go for it.
It's overwhelming the amount of information. As much as I know, I listen to people and still learn stuff. I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, how did I not know that? So I'm always learning still at this point. So just years ago, I think I went it was when Dr. Teese was working with Apex and they had like a blood,
Chemistry.
blood chemistries.
Mm.
You can probably find that on the internet and run those tests
Hmm.
through
And
their
just start there.
insurance and start there and figure out what stuff means. When
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
high, this is what it means. When this is low, this is what it means. These supplements fix that. And sometimes just giving people some vitamin D3 and some fish oil helps people get better.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
some basic stuff. And you don't have to have a huge inventory of supplements either. We do in our office, we have an apothecary that probably has $30,000 worth of supplements in at any one given point in time. But most of these supplement companies have online ordering. You can use Fullscript. There's lots of resources out there for functional medicine doctors to do kind of all kinds of remote stuff. And you can just run a practice out of your office and not have any test kits, any inventory, anything. You're just using your brain and a computer.
Yeah. 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 It's evolved along a lot in that way, which is nice, I would imagine.
Which is nice, yeah.
Hmm. And how do you stay excited about your practice and involved and engaged?
That's just my personality. It's super easy for me to do that. I love going to work every day and helping people. That's what God built me this way. So that's never been an issue for me.
That's awesome. That's great for your patients too, because I'm sure they get that in their visits with you.
They can feel that, yeah, because we give them hope. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just I've always been a cheerleader, just my whole life, not on purpose. I just am. So giving people that hope is just who I am.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then one last question. Where do you think healthcare is headed and what skills do practitioners need to be successful in the future?
What kind of practitioners are you talking about? Functional medicine practitioners or medical doctors?
Yeah, this is from Dr. Krasian, so I'm assuming, yeah. Or I don't know, maybe health in general. Like, yeah,
Well,
I'm not sure.
you gotta change the education system. What doctors are learning in
For
school?
practitioners or in general?
Yeah, what
Oh.
medical doctors are learning in
Mhm.
school is just not a lot of times relevant clinically. It's not an 8-minute appointment. Give me your symptoms. If I don't know what to do, I go into I walk out of your room, type your symptoms in a computer, and it tells me what drugs to give you. Like, that's not medicine. Like, anybody can do that.
Right.
So
That's just
yeah,
um,
I mean, that's a junior high person could do that. These symptoms equal this drug, and come back in a month and let me know if it helps. Like, that's not being a doctor. Or we
like
don't have
the
to do.
AI could do that.
Yeah, anybody could. Or 2 seconds into the appointment, I'm gonna send you to the specialist. Just passing the buck, making the patients pay more money. So I think people are more intentional about their health than ever before. I think COVID really opened up people's eyes to you have to be responsible for your health because that's your job. Your job as a parent is to educate your children how to be well. And you need to set the example of this is why we buy this food. This is why we take these supplements. This is why we exercise. This is why we do all these things intentionally so that you are observing and learning and watching me do all these things as a parent so that you are a successful teenager, you're a successful adult, and we can continue this model of being healthy first. And as you go, and I'm not old by any means, but as you get older, your health's all you got. So the
Mhm.
more you can set yourself up for success, I started taking vitamins when I was like 22. I'm 48 now. I still feel like I do when I was 25. It drives my wife nuts because I'm annoying to her because she doesn't feel that way. I went to my 30-year high school reunion. They're like, dude, you look the same. I'm like, yeah, you don't. Like, you haven't been taking good care of yourself. You're on drugs. You've had surgeries. I'm like, I don't do any of that stuff. So you got to stay ahead of the curve. You got to stay ahead of things because if you don't, you're going to be a statistic. You're going to get Alzheimer's and dementia. You're going to get diabetes. You're going to have autoimmune conditions. That's just what's in the water because everything in this world's trying to kill us slowly and poison us. So we need to rely on drugs and surgery to get well. And that's not how God designed our body. So if you don't do those things, you're screwed.
Yeah, and it's hard because of the messaging, right? The kind of just cultural messaging through ads and TV and like
And
weird
people, yeah,
corporate guidelines.
yeah. Ask your doctor if you need this drug. I'm like, really? Like that's horrible. And I think a big obstacle too is people think that being healthy is expensive. It's
Mm.
like everything's expensive and everything's hard. You get to choose where you spend your money and you get to choose your hard. It's hard to be healthy.
Mhm.
So choose your hard. You're going to invest in your health when you're young
Great.
or you're going to be in the system and be broken down and rely on Medicare to take care of you, which they don't do well at all. And you're going to be in a nursing home
Mhm.
instead of out living life.
Right. That's right. It's work either way. So, but you get
It's
more
work.
rewards with the
It's work either way. Yeah. Do front load your life and then code the rest. It's,
Smart.
I mean, right? When you're 20, you're healthy because you're 20. You don't have to try to be healthy. You just are typically. Like in your 30s, you have to make a little bit of effort because if you don't, your 40s and 50s aren't very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then your quality of life starts to down in your 60s instead of your 80s. Because I see that now. I've been this for, almost 20 years.
Well, that's awesome. Do you have anything to add?
Because I've seen generations of families now. I've treated people when they were children and now they have kids too, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I can see the people that took care of themselves. They're reaping the bits as they get older too. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you have anything to add that I haven't asked?
That's a great exam question. Because that's how I finish
Add
my
that to
exam.
your exam.
Is there anything that you have not told but you think is important? You have to be passionate about this stuff. If you're just a lukewarm functional medicine practitioner, chronically ill people will exhaust you and stress you out and cause you to burn out. So you have to be passionate about that. And again, by giving people hope, people will flock to you. We're often said that we're people's last chance card. We are people's last chance card. I've had countless people, if you didn't help me, I would be dead right now. And that's a pretty cool pat on the back kind of thing, I guess. But I'm like, I'm just giving you hope, man. I'm just helping your body to do what it's designed to do and heal. So I think jumping in with both feet, both arms, better than being afraid to get started. Because fear is going to cripple you from not helping people. Because we're people. That's why our earth is to help people. And we as functional medicine doctors have the ability to do that in a profound way that no other specialty in medicine really has. No one does what we do.
Because it's hard. It's a lot to learn.
It's a lot. The human body is so complex. And I think we have the best roadmap out there. And I think even the world of functional medicine has even evolved over the past. I've been in it for, probably really into it all the way for probably the past 15 years. And I've seen things evolve. And I know Datis has been in there for 30 or more. I mean, a long time. So he's seen things evolve, and they're going to evolve even more. The more and more we realize and learn, the more it's going to shift and grow and be able to help people in a whole new capacity. I'm learning more about peptides because peptides are pretty cool. And that's something I don't know a whole lot about. So that's kind of where in the mode I'm kind of in that learning space right now, is learning about peptides because they can do some incredible things in a short period of time.
Are you working with peptides now and seeing some results like with your autoimmune patients?
Just starting to in the past probably a couple months. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm okay. We're going to learn about this one and what all these things can help. And then, what's the best way to administer it? Where is the best company to get it from? So we're kind of in that vetting process right now and seeing who uses it well, because it's hard to teach yourself. I've just always done that. But now there's so many good places that you can learn that weren't there when I was growing up doing stuff. So, yeah.
Are you just finding information?
You're dying.
That's a good quote. Yeah. Your peptide information, are you just kind of looking all over from various sources, or have you found one particular kind of? There's not like a peptide institute, right?
No, I wish there would be one. Yeah, I'm kind of learning from some regenerative medicine docs here in town that I'm friends with, just learning some stuff, doing some stuff with my wife and myself, and just kind of seeing how you feel. So kind of trial and error a little bit. But I'm a huge hurdler about these things because we can help people already. But I think peptides are going to bring a whole nother level of healing just because of the uniqueness of what they can do that, nutrients and lifestyle nutrition can't really do the same thing peptides can.
Yeah, it's a whole new exciting field, which is great. I mean, I think it's great that new things come along and we've got to start from the beginning with that and learn how to integrate.
Right. And if you understand physiology, you understand peptides easier too.
Right. That's a good point. Like you've got that foundation already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's all the questions I've got, unless you have anything else to add.
I don't think so. I mean, I've been learning from Dr. Dedis pretty much my whole career, and he's going
Hmm.
strong, and he lays everything out well and intentional, and it's easy to understand. And I think the Karazi Institute's fantastic. My brother's a chiropractor. He's going through the program right now. We have a neurologist that works in our office. She went through the program now. So I think it's great. I think it's well worth your time and
That's
energy.
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time and I'll let you know when this is posted.
Great. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Solving the Puzzle with Dr. Datis Karazian. Start your 7-day free trial at KarazianInstitute.com if you're a licensed healthcare practitioner ready to evolve your functional medicine practice. Explore over 300 hours of clinical training, masterclasses with leading functional medicine clinicians, and certification pathways. Or check out the Academy of Functional Nutrition and Lifestyle Medicine at AFNLM.com. Whether you're on the path to certification as a functional nutritionist or simply want to optimize your own and your family's health, our skill-building approach builds real-world competence from the ground up. And lastly, if you're dealing with chronic health challenges, visit drknews.com for self-paced courses that help you understand and address fatigue, brain fog, autoimmune conditions, gut problems, and more using evidence-based approaches. The content on this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health regimen. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who might benefit.